Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Apex Brotherhood. We're at the London session, and look who we've got here today. We've got Sam back.
Good
Welcome
morning,
back.
everyone. I am back, and we are yet another stream. We will look at all our pairs in a moment, and we will likely, most probably, take a good trade even today.
Hopefully, the market's going to be a lot better than it was Friday and Monday. So I'm in a trade at the minute. I'm in Euro USD. I'm going long. I'm actually on the 45 minute. I'm trying another bot that I'm sort of working on. I've got 5 projects running all at the same time here, Sam. So I'm like, I don't know whether I'm coming or going sometimes. But this one's all right. I've got this on the 45 minutes. As you can see, the SAD panel. I'm on custom settings. It knows that the regime of the trend is bullish. All the numbers coincide with how bullish the market actually is. Um, it knows whether the volume is choppy, normal, or actually rallying, which is quite good because that's monitoring the volume twice within that one with the market regime and the actual volume. All the presets are all preset apart from this because it's custom. I've had to do that this morning. I was doing that just before you joined us earlier on. It looks back over the trades out of 100 trades, which you can see there at the bottom, all closed signals are logged. Out of the 9
Right.
trades that it's actually looked back on, it's got a win rate of 88.9% with an average 1.37R.
Yeah, that is good.
It changes all the time. It does change all the time. But the actual market edge that this has got within the 14 minute is a 1.52R, and that's
Oh,
times 4. So that's over the 4 actual trades that it's looked back at. It would have took them, but I've changed everything and just restarted this morning. So it's got an average of 1.52R, and as we're
right.
speaking presently, it's got an average of 137R at 88% win rate. So yeah, I've kind of been working hard with this one. Like I said, I'm in a couple of trades within Euro USD. It's just split up. So what are you looking at this morning?
Uh, Give me switching to my screen now. Yeah. So today, I am also again trying to trade gold even today. So from today, I am going to try this analysis trick for everybody. From today, I'll try to maintain a similar type of analysis explaining everything. So, firstly, I am going to mark the day's highs and lows, previous day highs and previous day lows. Right. On gold, we have marked the previous day's highs and lows, and now we are on the 15-minute time frame. We can all see that the liquidity of the previous day's highs have been taken, and now we are going down. We'll most likely take the help of a support to start moving upwards again. If you also look at the EMAs, which I predominantly base my trades on we were bullish up until when we took the liquidity, and now we entered into a small bearish trend. And based on the EMAs and the movements and just the candle movements, you can say that it is pretty much a gradually it is gradually going down. Like how do I put it? There's lot of volume behind the movement downwards. I think if we find a good area of support, then we'll start rallying up on gold very easily. Apart from that, yeah, I have like on NAS, it looks like we are on and on going bullish. But I'll be very careful when we are at this area because this is a uh, proven supply zone. So I will be very careful over here, and I'll most probably. But given this is the daily time frame, I think we should be good for at least a few hours, or maybe I think today also we can rally higher on NAS. On DAX again, DAX on the daily time frame is not moving much, but it is obviously not so on the 15-minute time frame. 15-minute time frame, it took good upside movement, clearing this gap that was that we got on Monday open. In a I think DAX will still rally higher, but I am not sure. I am not so sure about this supply zone. I would like to see it being overtaken and breaking that supply zone. For my bias, that would be great. It on Euro USD on the 1 minute time frame. If we see the previous day's highs and lows, then the previous day high and the previous day low have not been taken yet. I based on the proximity and the area of supply that you can find over here on the daily time frame. When you go down to the 15 time frame, you can see that we got rejected on the supply zone, but we did not take the previous day highs. So I am quite skeptical about it. That is the reason that is one of the reasons why there is so much sideways movement. I am, but yeah, I have a neutral bias on Euro USD. I'm not sure where it is moving. I think same goes with the GU. I have a neutral bias. I'm not sure where it is moving. Uh, and if we are talking about UJ, I have a bearish bias on UJ. If we similarly like EU and GU, we did not take previous day highs or lows. Was not a lot of liquidity. The markets are quite slow for now, but based on just how trending uh, UJ happens to be, I am looking for a bearish move, maybe up until this lows by end of the London session. Maybe by end of London session, we are taking one of these lows for sure. Uh, Not much of a crypto guy, but on Bitcoin again, and Bitcoin has been quite stagnant from February. It has been quite some time. I am given the market conditions, especially the war, state of Hormuz events going around. I am not expecting much movement. I think that it is going to be sideways even today. Who is trading Bitcoin? I am sure that you can catch a few moves on the lower time frames, but it is not a way. But I think if I were to apply my logic that I use for every other pair over Bitcoin, I would say we'll be taking support from this zone and moving upwards. That is my perspective on it. But I'm not much of a Bitcoin trader, so be careful, be mindful about that. Yeah.
Yeah, it still looks like it's under the EMAs if you've still got the Bitcoin chart up.
Yes.
But your assumption on Euro USD is right. It's actually just for now it's just been a bit choppy. I like your NAS assumption because I think that that's going to go up too. I've just actually added one of my indicators to the NAS chart after seeing the rally from a couple of days ago, really, since Friday and yesterday. It didn't do much for the first quarter of yesterday, so if I just nope, wrong one. So yesterday we had this point here where it was just flat, creating on the support zone, and then it started rallying. We've kind of hit a resistance zone now. I don't think, like you, that it may come back down because it's still under the bands that I've got preset. So that was quite a good rally that this would have got us into. It hasn't actually come back to break the bands yet, so I'm thinking that it's going to chop a little bit. But like you, I think that it still may be positive. Only time is going to tell really on that one whether it's going to break the bands and come back down to test either a resistance zone or the midway mark. But other than that, I may actually take a trade on NAS actually and go long. But for me, with my strategy, as you can see, this is part of my strategy anyway. I would have been in earlier, a lot earlier, which was the 13th. So I would have been in pretty much 2 days up to now on the NAS on the trading strategy that I've got presented now on screen. This would have been a loss. This would have been a small win. This would have been a loss. This kind of would have been a break even, but you can't really judge the market all the time. I'd have loved to have got in down here and still been in it there, but it's just not possible to create the strategy that you would have held that long because of the pullbacks, because I've designed this to actually get in with pullbacks and trade both pullbacks as well as bull markets. Same as this one. This one I'd have loved to have got in there and I'd have loved to have got out here, but that's just not possible because of this area here where we had one hell of a bullish candle which actually created a break of the bands, and that also created a fake out. So can't really avoid them. You take the losses with the wins. So I would have been took out there. I would have probably lost a little bit there if the bot would have put me in. I've got other conditions within the bot where if price like that on that bullish candle was absolutely ridiculous. Should we see how big that actually was in pips?
It was an enormous candle. We just
It was 930. It was close to 931 pips on the NAS, and then that was stop loss plus a little bit. That would have put me at the bottom end of the band at 1014 pips. So the bot definitely would not have taken that trade. So that would, the bot itself and my trading strategy, because I'd have measured it out, this isn't a bot, this is just an indicator and I have to do everything manually. At that, I just wouldn't have took that trade. So that loss would have filtered itself out. There is others that would have filtered themselves out, but that's sort of hindsight at the minute. You do
weekend
fall.
holding in these markets is like it's almost impossible. Whoever is holding on the weekends, good luck for you guys. I don't think it's a great idea though.
No, definitely not. Not these days. Not these days. I have once or twice, but I definitely won't hold over the weekends. As you can see, this is a personal indicator because I've got my Evans price area. I've just named everything because I know that it's my indicator, and I know when I'm choosing a strategy to use for either the week or even the day, which strategy I'm using, because they're all appropriately named. But yeah, no, your assumption on NAS there was pretty much spot on. US 30, that's kind of in the same range. We are kind of still bullish, but it's still running a little bit flat. It's the same as NAS. It's running between support and resistance, but it's coming down. All it needs to do is either break these bands plus the EMA. It's not just going to be a break of the bands, Sam, before it actually turns bearish. What I actually need as well is a break of the EMA as well, second confirmation. So once I get the second confirmation, it's probably going to still pull back, but I still would be in the trade. It'll pull back, it'll create a possibly a lower low, a lower high, and then come back down again. But that's what I look for all the time. As you can see here, the signal came out on the break of the bands and the actual break of the EMA, and then obviously that's the weekend. Soon as it came down, we closed for the weekend, and then it absolutely tanked.
Yeah.
So this actual strategy does actually get me in on the right side sometimes when the market either absolutely rallies or, again, as you can see, absolutely tanks, because that gap itself was a 485 pip drop. But if I'd have held over the weekend from taking this signal, I would have actually been on the right side of that drop. So it does keep me in on the right side of the drop sometimes. UK 100 is looking again flat. It's not done much since it rallied, and that's been a fair few days that it's been choppy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on the sixth day. And it just hasn't got out of that mid range, which
is annoying because the middle model is never a good space to trade.
no,
And yeah,
no, definitely not. Not in a range anyway.
yes. And if it is your favorite pair, then it is even more annoying because you know that pair very well, and it is one of the best. It is one of the best instruments that you trade on a daily basis. But the prolonged range on the pair that you like the most, that annoys me a lot, at least.
Yeah, I'm going to actually have a look at that. I haven't got that up yet. Like I said, I've been.
Think it was last year. Last year around April to June, I think so. Gold was just ranging the even on the daily time frame. It was ranging quite a lot. It was not the best. The market conditions were not very suitable for me at that point of time, and I was really annoyed.
Yeah, yeah. There's loads of false signals when it's ranging. It all depends on how deep that it actually is ranging to whether you can actually make anything or you're just going to get chopped.
Right.
And as this stands, I am on the 10-minute time frame here, and that just it's just not appealing. It just needs to break out of the range that it's actually sat in, make its mind up to whether it's actually going to drop or fall. You can see that the ranges that we've had before it starts actually making a decision to whether it's going to be going up or not. Same as here, the range that you're probably going to get chopped up there. You probably got chopped up here, and yeah, I just prefer the markets moving sort of in its favour of the direction that it actually intends to go. I get caught out pretty much all the time with the direction that it actually is going to go because of the pullbacks. They're either not deep enough or they're actually more deeper than what I was actually going to anticipate. And then I actually think that there's going to be a regime change and it's going down. So then I adjust my strategy accordingly, and then it only backfires and then just turns back around again. And it's like, but yeah, no, we can never actually predict where exactly the market's going to go. We can only play the game within the range that it actually gives us. But for now, I'm in USD. It's Euro USD trade with the actual bot trading on the 45 minute. Like I said, I prefer higher time frames because you generally get a more sense of direction with the higher time frames than you do lower time frames, and it seems to stick to the direction that it's going. So if it is actually chopping within a 45-minute time frame, you can definitely see that it's actually sticking to that regime, and you can mark that zone out. Once you've marked that zone out, which is actually marked out for me within the support and resistance bands that I've got within the indicator, I can drop to a lower time frame. Let's go to the 5 minute. No, I can't. Let's go back because that's actually. So what I'd actually have to do is I'll just do this roughly, just mark it out, because these are adaptive.
Right.
So if these want adaptive, that would have worked out, but so if I'm on the 45-minute time frame, mark these out, go with horizontal line, so then I'll mark out the midway. Now I can drop down and know that these zones are the 45 minutes. Oh, there it is. So it's not that bad. I didn't know that they would have lined up, but they are doing pretty well. It doesn't always work out like that with the ranges. So I can work out whether it's coming down to the midway point, which it is actually sort of bouncing on that, which is this one here. So what I'd be looking for is not the color coding of the candles. I'd be looking for a bounce like this rejection candle, and I'd probably be going for a long, but I would probably take out my long on the shorter time frame here, which if I actually got in on that candle, which was kind of nice because it was a good rejection candle. All right, it's only 7 pips, and again that's not that bad, but your risk's probably going to be higher anyway to get something out of that market, which you would have had a 5 pip stop loss. So a 5 pip stop loss kind of wouldn't have been worth it because of the top band. Or you could actually push it to the limit and see whether it's going to actually test the higher resistance, which would have been an 18 pips. But this is just scalping. For me, this is scalping on the 5 minutes. And only taking a few pips at a time. I've never been able to sort of master being able to get into a swing trade via a lower time frame, or at least not a 5 minute time frame anyway. If I've actually done it, I've kind of fluked it, because I'm always trading on the higher time frames, and if I'd have got in here aiming for the higher time frame long, my actual stop loss would be sort of down here. So I'd be getting in on a little tidgy candle like that, but yeah, I'd have a stop loss down here at about 34 pips. So to me, that's kind of pointless of getting in on a 5 minute time frame with that. Because it's like, well, what happens if it comes down and actually tests this support area while I've got in on a bounce on a mid-range? Because that is the mid-range point. So what I just do is I just class that as drawdown that just is acceptable. I know that it's probably going to be in drawdown slightly. So I just accept that, and that's basically how I sort of have a mindset of when I enter a trade and it enters instant drawdown. I'm not hoping, or I'm not at least thinking that, oh man, it's going straight to stop loss, which it has done, but I'm not actually thinking that. I'm just thinking that it's relative drawdown to the position that I've got into the trade. But this is actually when I get into a trade late. Obviously this is where I actually would have got into the trade, and the bot would have made me get into the trade that way. But yeah, if I'm coming late, I normally do it like I have done in these trades, which is manual. This ain't the bot trading, this is me. I've used the bands as my stop loss area, and I got in again. I've seen this resistance, I've seen the support, I've seen that it's bouncing from the bands, so all I've done is just opened a 0.3 in 0.1s, which ain't much, still only 30p a pip, but I've done it in 3 sets. So what I could actually do with that is take profits, which that's why I haven't done it yet. Take profits and click that one. Wherever I want to take them. They don't have to be sort of perfect. Probably again at 1, 1, 2, 2, 2R, something like that. Keeps sticking to R-type take profits. And the third one I wouldn't actually have a TP on that because I'd still be trading the same way of my strategy, which I've programmed the bot, which that would have been, as I've explained to you last week, Sam, that would have been the runner.
Yeah.
So these are my take profits at wherever I really wanted to take profit at. And as soon as it gets there, it'll automatically take the profit. It could bounce down and then take me out for break even, because by the time it's up there, I would have moved my stop loss altogether to break even. Second TP gets took. I would have trailed my stop loss a little bit tighter, and that would have left the third one that hasn't got an actual TP. And what I would have done from there is just trailed the bands. And let me just show you with just one of these. I would have trailed the bands as it was coming up. My stop loss would have been there. I'd have noticed that a little ridge further on would have been. I'd have trailed it there. Then I'd have trailed it there. And just so on and so on and so forth. Trailing it underneath the bands, and that's where it is now. So they are actually underneath the bands, but this is a late entry. And that's the only sort of protection that I actually give late entries, is just my stop loss is pretty much tight up against the bands. But that's only once I've actually seen a rejection of the bands, and there's 2 of them there. So on this trade, I'm a little bit hopeful, but I'm just not hopeful that we're actually going to be going for an absolute rally again, because of the support areas which the program's actually built in, which was just underneath a daily support which I'd already programmed. So that's what these are. I know sometimes I like a clean chart, but other than that, when I'm actually trading and I'm marking out the levels, it does actually become a little bit visually garish for some people, and even me, because I start deleting the lower ones. But these are all the levels that I've done, and you can see that it's kind of come up, respected them, broke them, come back for the test, stuck to it, come back, tested it again, and the levels all seem to be in the right places for me to know that if it's above the line, we're actually going long. If it's below the line, we're actually going short, which actually makes it visually a 2-second thing to look to see, right, we're above the line, so fair enough, we're going up. If we're below the line, we're coming down. But I only take it on bounces. This one was just so I was actually in a trade for the day, really, and just to see how it actually carries on. The indication that the market is flat is obviously it's telling me it's choppy, but yet we've got normal volume, which is not really convincing me that we're actually going to have a good day, which also means that it's going to stick within a range for as long as it sticks within that range. There's no sort of time frame that I can predict that it's going to stick within a time frame. It may be waiting for some sort of news, and we don't seem to have any. Do we have any red news on for Euro USD today? Don't think we do.
Not sure. Speaking of trades on gold, if you notice, then we are currently in this demand zone, and we tried breaking down twice, but we failed. So I am looking that there is a possibility for us to go long. I would be taking a long if we are somehow, if we break this high and we form a breakout structure, then I will take a long. That is how I am looking at the market right now, and possibly I'll most probably go for a 1 to 2. But if I were to if I were to take a profit level based on the market levels, I would be looking to take some partials around the previous day high and have my full TP somewhere around here. Right. Yep. My full TP somewhere around. That is how I am planning my trade.
And is that
If
on the 5 minute, Sam?
it is on the 5 minute. Yeah. So we failed to break this low, right? We failed to break it. So what does that tell me? It tells me that there are people who are willing to buy in this zone. There are people who are willing to defend this price. That is the reason I'm looking to. That is the reason I'm convinced for longs. And if it is able to provide me enough evidence that yeah, we are going long by giving me a change of character, then I'm very happy to get into a long trade and see how it goes on from there.
And what is that? I'm looking at your symbol. Is that Euro USD?
This is
Oh,
gold.
it's gold.
Okay.
I'm trying to look on the broadcast thing. I'm out looking at an actual screen. I went for my eyes test yesterday. I did actually go for an eye test yesterday and noticed that my vision is actually a little bit weaker, so I'll be getting my glasses. But it's funny. I went for the actual eye test yesterday, and they said, right, we'll sort out your glasses. It's going to take a fortnight. And I'm like,
Okay.
oh, that's good. That's good. Oh, why is it going to take so long? And I was wanting them sort of straight away. I was like, yeah, we'll get them done. Put the lenses in. These are the frames that I want. Obviously, I'll be paying for it cash today, and I was thinking maybe I'll pick them up tomorrow, shall I, or shall I pick them up end of week? And she was like, no, you're gonna have to give us a fortnight. And I'm like, damn. So yeah, they're not that bad. The glasses that I've got on now, they are sort of my lenses anyway. But yeah, the ones that I'm going to be getting now are probably going to make it a little bit clear. So I'll probably have telescopes on, so I'll be able to see the minus details of your chart there. But no, I like
Right.
that idea, and I like what you said when you said that you was going to start taking partials. What do you-
Like I would I would like, to be honest, if I were to try to get a runner, because if I am of the idea of getting a runner, then I will be locking in some partials, and that is what I said. If I were to take from a level to level perspective, so if my wait a minute, what is wrong with my mouse? Yeah. Uh, so if I were to put my stop loss down here, then my take profit would be, if I were to take 1:2, then my take profit would be high about right around here. But if you notice, then by the time we reach here, there are multiple points of resistance or multiple points where the price can react and start going changing the trend again. That is the reason I would suggest taking partials, or I would be open to the idea of taking partials, just because my stop is so large for a 1 to 2 to make sense. I should be trying to get something out of it. You're getting me?
Yeah,
Because
no,
yeah,
definitely.
uh,
I'm sort of
because
analysing it. I'm analysing your own trade. I'm thinking, would you actually have your stop that far past that area of support? Because
I
once
think
it's actually gone past that support, the trade's invalidated anyway, innit? So you could actually get away with a smaller stop loss.
yes, I can take a small stop loss, but my idea is that since we have price was able to reach this point, the lowest point that is, though we were unable to break the support, but we were able to reach up till this point at this point. So I'm willing to give it that much room, because I will be very angry if I, in order to make my stop loss smaller, I would have taken a trade with not a lot of breathing room, and it takes my stop loss. I would know that I would know this is exactly where I messed up. So I do not mind having the wider stop when it comes to protecting the trade. Because if you think about it, a stop loss has to be where it has to be. Just because you want a better RR or just because you want to, just because you like stop losses, it does not give it. It does not. The market does not care whether how do you like the stop loss to be. You just have to take into consideration and go around with it.
Yeah, yeah. And are you actually good with going that deep into your stop loss before hoping that it turns around?
I think apart from whenever I stream, I have come to terms that it is better to set and forget than look at my trades because like I said on previous streams also, I tend to mess up when I'm micro managing my trades. So if I was not on stream and I took this trade, then I would have not even seen it. I would just set alerts on stop loss and take profit. And if I get a notification, I'm like, cool, on to the next.
Yeah, yeah. Are you actually prepared to actually go short if that gets broken and then retest again? Would you actually change your bias and would you
Yeah,
actually enter that trade?
if if on the 5 minute time frame we are able to close below this low, then I am sure that I'll shift my bias to lows because if you notice, then if I'm going on levels, then I'll be targeting somewhere around this demand zone. So say for suppose we took there is a good candle, good bearish candle, then what happens is then I'll be looking to take a shot on the retest. So yeah, so we closed below here, right? We closed here. Then I'll be waiting for a small pullback somewhere around this point, and on the retest of that, I will go short. So this is most probably the area I'll go short. And once I go short, I'll be aiming for a take profit somewhere over here.
Yeah, yeah. No, I like that. I like the theories. I like using the same area as a second
Because
confluence that it's going to be going short on the retest as well. So I like the idea on that.
because all this supply and demand zones and all that is just is are it is basically liquidity. They are like magnets. That is where price is attracted to. Price does not want to go sideways. Price wants to go up and down. And where does price wants to go? Wherever there are orders. And where are the orders? They are they are near the supply and demand zones or below them based on where the liquidity is. That is the reason. That is how I have started to look at markets. Over the weekend, I have learned that.
Yeah, I mean, do you know, I can't remember his name at the minute. I got memory like a sieve. But like he says, price is going to gravitate to where the masses place the stops.
Uh, Dr. David Paul.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah. And it's kind of true. It's kind of true because that's why everyone keeps saying that the market's producing stop ons and stuff. Every time you open a trade or something and you put your stop loss at structure, then it comes back, it takes you out, and then flies in the direction that you was going anyway. So yeah, no, that's really true because it's happened to me before. So that's why I liked your wider stop loss at the bottom of where you've got it. I was just asking whether you was prepared to sort of stick that out, but I think that you would actually. I think that you would, and you'd probably end up surviving it longer than other people, like me, which would have had a kind of a shorter stop loss, and I'd have been took out before you on that trade. If we was to do the same trade, I'd have had my stop loss a little bit tighter anyway. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't have thought about it the way that you have with the wicks at the bottom, and you've gone just a little bit further than the longest wick that you can actually see. So yeah, if that would have been me and you trading, and it worked out that way, and then came back to that area, and then rejected once again, which you can see that it's done it like at least 1, 2, 3, 4 times that I can actually see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been took out. I would have been complaining about a stop on, and you'd have been laughing because you'd have had the wider stop, and you'd have just carried on. You'd have just carried on in the same trade that you'd actually opened up, however long it took for it to get there. Just like I did when I opened this one that I'm doing now. I'm still in drawdown. It's not much. I'm still on the £100 account. I let it trade overnight. It took a couple of losses, which is inevitable. I mean, that was Asia, and it was on a lower time frame than the 45. I think I'd left it on the 5 minute and went to bed. Not really concentrating. I should have just stopped it. So it's lost about 5 to 7 quid, something like that. It's not really that bad for an overnight trade and a bot losing. I mean, I've heard stories of worst cases where they've gone to bed, woke up, and it's drained the account. So I've actually got it to a point where it's not actually going to do that for the rules that's set in there. But yeah. Hopefully, one time I'll catch on the 45.
What to the stops, and it wiped their whole account. Like, how can somebody forget to put a stop loss? It is just something that I am unable to understand, because I believe that if you are trading, then you have to, even if you are not having any idea of stop loss, there must be a what I say as a Hail Mary stop loss. So if I were to give a trade that I want, massive amount of hook, because I'm not sure, because I'm not sure of how volatile markets are, and I think that it will just dip down and go up just as quickly. Then what I do in such cases, which is not advisable, but if there were conditions like that, and I somehow am not thinking properly, and I want to take a trade like that, I would put a Hail Mary stop loss. A Hail Mary stop loss would be something like this. Yeah, something like this. A Hail Mary stop loss. Because
Yeah,
I am sure that
you have to put your screen
this
up.
is the maximum that I'll allow my... Oh, my screen is not up. Okay. So if I were to think that, okay, this trade might not go back to this area, but it might as well get a quick wick in because the markets are just so volatile. Then what I would do, then I would put a Hail Mary stop loss. This is the maximum that I am allowed to lose today, and I do not want to lose anything more than this. That is the reason I'll put my stop loss over here and save my account. There are people who go without a stop loss and it does not make sense to me. Like, even if you're not sure and you do not want to put stop loss, put a stop loss which is almost unimaginable. Like, you're so sure that the price just won't go to there. But trading without a stop loss and risking your whole account on it is just wild.
No, definitely. And I've just noticed we've got a few in chat.
Right.
Will Davis is in. Good morning, Will. How's it going this morning? Are you in a live trade, Evan? Yeah, I'm in Euro USD. I've took a 0.3, but I've split it up into 0.1s, so I can actually take partials in places that sort of take my fancy for this one. Really, I'm not sticking to any particular plan. I've just entered it as a late entry, and we know that the regime's choppy at the minute. It's just a speculative trade, that's all for today, and I just want to see how it goes. So my take profits are not going to be anything organized or anything. They're just going to be sporadically placed. And my third 0.1, which I've got, which hasn't got a TP, that one is just going to be a runner. It's either going to be a runner as far as it'll run, or when I'm trailing my stop loss, it'll just come back at my stop loss, and that's what's going to take me out this trade. But other than that, I've still got the bot running just to show everybody how it actually performs and what it displays. And hopefully one time on stream, we'll actually witness it, actually take a trade. But with it being on a 45-minute,
there'll be over a period of time, there'll obviously be a trade that happens.
No, exactly.
50 Cal. What's up, 50 Cal?
50 Cal's in the house.
Yeah. CC comes and says hi. Morning, CC.
Morning, CC. And Zatrader, welcome this morning.
Morning. And just in, Unbiased Trader, good morning. Good morning, Unbiased Trader.
So what are you guys trading this morning? What are you looking at? What are you looking at trading this morning? Or
talking about the trade, like what I think on the 1 minute time frame, we are almost in a range. So typically over here, I think what might be a good idea is, like I said, you buy at the bottom of the range and sell at the top of the range and try to make a quick buck. Over here on the 1 minute time frame, I think that is very much possible. If somebody just places this stop here and aims for a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-1.5. In fact, they can go for a 1.75 also. 1-to-2, not so possible. I think you'll be stopped before. But a 1.75 might just be the perfect area for you to take. Yeah, I think a trade like this would work really well on the 1 minute time frame, because if you were to take a trade, then exploit whatever you can get. And ranges are one such specific market condition where it is easy to exploit the market, given that you are patient enough to wait for the market to come either to the bottom of the range or the top of the range and reject from there. Because if you see on the 1 minute time frame, we came down, we rejected from the range, we got up, we went down. And look at the wicks, look at these candles. It is just a perfect rejection for you. So you could have taken a trade over here, expecting it to go somewhere around here, and it would be a good trade for the day.
Are you not worried that the 1 minute's creating lower highs and lower lows? Would you
not really.
Now we're on the 1 minute. I can see it's actually still in profit, but would you have actually took that trade up instead of waiting for it to come back down?
Yeah, I would have taken it up, because like I said, I can clearly see a range, and in a range, minor lower highs and minor lower lows like this do not really matter much.
No, you're pretty much at the bottom there, so you're probably right.
That's my perspective, because in a range, like it is very choppy. So these do not matter as much as it would have mattered in a trending market. These are like what, maybe 10 pips or about 16 pips lower than the previous low. I do not think that they would have caused it a lot. They just don't matter in my point of view.
Yeah, no, like I said, you've pretty much got a triple bottom there, so you may be all right on direction, really. A few more comments come in if you want to go through them. I know Unbiased Traders looking at BTC long.
Yeah, GJ long and NQ long. So I like I told earlier, I have in my market analysis, I have told that I have a long bias on BTC and NQ, and a bearish and a neutral bias on GU. Not sure about GJ, and I had a bearish bias on UJ. If UJ and GJ are similar to each other, then I think that is a good market analysis by me today. Yeah, Unbiased is also waiting for a setup. Yeah, I think markets are just like that, man. You have to wait. The amount of patience it takes, the amount of time it takes to even develop the amount of patience required to stay in the market. It is on a time frame is very long. That is the reason about 95% of the people who start trading, they lose money over a period of 365 days.
Pooley's in. Good morning, Pooley, this morning with the market views from Hull to India. You don't get that anywhere else. No, you don't. You don't. We bring fresh things to the market. We bring it.
Right.
Go on, Sam. What was you going
Fresh
to say?
perspective, fresh perspectives.
Yes, absolutely.
Zar Trader. Trading the DAX this morning took a short from 24077 with a 100-point bracket. Right. Hopefully that is working out. I think it is working out well, is it? Let me just see. Yeah, I think that worked out well. We saw a good bearish momentum downwards. Not sure whether you are in it still. Wait, is that a fresh trade? Because if you see 24077 is right about here. So I think it's a fresh trade, right? Yeah, with a 100-point bracket. Since these are indices, uh, the price is not similar from chart to chart. What I'm using are Go markets on the trading view. So I might be wrong. This might not be the level that you have traded from, but if it is a similar level, then I am not quite sure, Zar Trader, about this trade. I am not sure. I do not know much about your style of trading, but if I were to look at this, then what I am currently looking at is
Sam, if
that
you want to get a judge of that trade, mate, look at it on the 6 minute time frame. I've pretty much got it bang on. It's at a support level, and on the 6 minute time frame is actually is caught the wick. So that's actually, I don't know whether he's placed a sell limit or a sell stop on that, but
okay,
that was a very good entry. And to
by
look,
Zar Trader, right?
yeah, yeah. I mean, where I've
Yeah,
got it now is pretty much this line here. Pretty much,
right.
I had it bang on. There you go.
Mm,
Four
that
zero.
is a great trade, Zar Trader. That is beautiful. Uh, I would love to know. Yeah, yes. Zar Trader has corrected me. I would actually love to know what strategy you use or what was the reasoning behind this trade because that is a beautiful, beautiful trade. Bang on. Damn, that is almost like a pinpoint perfection, man.
Yeah, looking at fifth from that point, Axie has just put up another comment, but judging it from the point where I've got it, that's about 55 pips, nearly 56 pips at the minute.
Damn. Well, that is a great trade, not gonna lie. In fact, I'm quite jealous because if you look at it, it is at the very top. It
24
is
1.
like how Will used to take trades, pinpoint, like pin perfect entry.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the market for 24 100.
Yeah, based on my charts, he was talking about my chart. So if you were to look at my charts, 24 100 would be somewhere around here. Am I right? Yeah, 24 100 would be somewhere around here. So Zar Trader took a phenomenal trade. Absolutely beautiful. And I think that he has also held his trade from these minor pullbacks, which is a beautiful thing. A
Okay,
lot
don't
of
forget to
people
like,
want to
subscribe, and
pull back.
share. Let me just pop that up. for the Apex Brotherhood. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, share, and if you need any more information on these trades, you will find that in the Discord, and the Discord link is in the description.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry
And
about
you'll
that.
also
I
find
just wanted to
much
get that
more.
in.
But the Discord is great to join. You can have a banter with us. We are available 24/7, and we also provide notifications before all prime time market news. All the red folder and yellow folder news are covered there. Join in the Discord. It's a great place to be. Every Friday we also have poker night. Love to see you there.
Members trading area as well, where we post all our predictive and trades that we've already took that have actually come to fruition. So you see that the skills within the trading community are posting their trades, their setups, and everything like that, their wins, their losses, everything. So yeah, no, it's a great community. Get yourself in there, and looking forward to see you in there.
So Zar Trader has given us information about his strategy. So I trade a 15-minute orb open range breakout with an anchored VWAP at the open. And notice PA was bearish, making lower lows since sweeping pre-market high, but it's a counter trend play on the higher time frame. Yeah, I'm not sure what is PA. Are you sure what is PA, Evan?
You know what? I'm
Price
unsure
action.
myself.
Yeah, price action. Notice price action was
Exactly.
bearish, making lower lows since sweeping pre-market high. Yeah, the strategy is great, and a lot of people have recently started trading orb. Have you noticed that? A lot many people have caught on to the open range breakout strategy nowadays. I have seen a lot of reels, and Zar Trader is one of them who is able to trade the open range breakout perfectly because based on the trade that he took, that is an amazing trade. Hopefully, you get to take more trades like that. Stick around with us. I'd love to see or I'd love to know how you trade day on and day in and day out. And we talking about that, if we were to look at the trade to that I have suggested on gold, then we started going down just as quickly as we started getting going up. Yeah, ranges are a weird thing, aren't they?
No, definitely. I'd love to know if Zar Trader's actually got a stop loss a take profit in mind, or whether he's actually just going to let the market dictate whether he's going to win or lose. Really, have you actually got a
Uh,
stop loss, or are
no,
you actually just going to trail a stop loss? Keep saying stop.
this
Take profit. What would you do, Sam?
this particular idea I did not take a trade. This particular idea I did not place the trade. I was just as I was discussing my idea itself, the market went higher. Market went up till this point, so there was no point in taking that trade at that point of time. But yeah, it was like I said, if you are in the range, it might be a good idea to exploit the range by waiting for it to get rejected from either the highs and lows. So I was explaining the idea, and the idea is working out quite well right now. Unfortunately, I did not get the chance to take this trade. I missed it. It's fine. Talking about trading on the account and the P&L, I am sure that I can get. I am thinking that based on my performance today, like this week, I am thinking to get funding account, a fund evaluation for next Monday. I am not. I am sure that I can manage with a 5K or 10K. I'll look at a few firms, and by Monday I should be starting my evaluation journey on stream. Looking forward to that.
Are you actually buying a 5K now, Sam?
Yeah, On yeah, I'll buy 5K, get it ready after this weekend for trading it live Monday. I'll be taking trades exclusively on the stream. I will not be taking trades after. So yeah, let's see how that works out.
Nah, cool, cool. Yeah, definitely looking forward to that journey, Sam.
Yeah.
Just if it comes to some days where there's no trades, just remember there's no trades.
Yes. Yes.
Especially when it's an evaluation account.
I think I am not sure who told where I heard this from, but I think it was somebody in the comments previously who told that not having a position in the market is also having a position in the market.
Yeah, no trade day is also a good trading day.
Yeah, because you have protected your capital.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit then on my end, Sam, when you said that. What did you say?
Sorry, because you protected your capital. That's what I was telling. Because
Yeah,
you did
yeah,
not take a trade.
exactly.
Take the trades. So you basically protected your capital. How I like to think about it is that if I take a trade over here, then I'll most probably, because there is no actual setup, there's no setup that is there for me. If I take a trade right now, then I lose 1%. So if I do not take a trade at all, then I have made 1%, which is great. That's how I.
No, for sure. It probably works out like that for most of us too. I mean, like I said before, I can set up some trades. I take the one that looks like it's the better option. It either fails, and the rest of them take off. But I mean, that's just the way that it is. It's just the way that it is. So unfortunately, we can't win them all, and we
Yes.
do actually get caught out in the market anyway. Everyone gets caught out in the market.
Yeah.
It's just one of them things that you just got to take it with the rough with the smooth. Like you said before, take it on the chin, move on to the next one, and just forget about it. Forget about it if it's annoying you too much. But if it's annoying you too much, probably need to get out the markets and for the rest of the
Yes.
day, and
Yes.
probably take your dog for a
Go on
walk.
for a walk.
Yeah,
Go on for a walk.
yeah, take your dog for a walk. Go in the park.
Price action on DAX. Where exactly is your take profits are trader? Because that is a drop. That is a drop on DAX, and hopefully your take profit was somewhere around there, or maybe even lower, because DAX is not stopping. It is just dumping. Not sure whether there's a particular reason behind it, but yeah.
Might be targeting the lower low there, Sam.
Yeah, it might actually. Um, it
You
is
don't actually know
really
what sort of trader Zatrader is, whether he's actually a swing trader, intraday trader, or a scalper. It could actually be
I
out.
think based on strategy he told, it is probably intraday, because from the knowledge that I have of op strategy, it usually takes about 1 hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours in that time frame. Every trader exists, so I think he's an intraday trader. Yeah. On DAX, I think we'll be going down up to this area from where we can expect a reaction, and if the reaction, if there is some form of rejection over this range, then we can expect a pullback, because I think because on a longer time frame, I think that we might get a bigger pullback, because if you notice, then we have been we have been in the uptrend for quite some time now, and there has not been a lot of momentum recently, so it might as well as there is a possibility of a shift. There is a possibility of a shift. So, like my good friend over here, Evan, he leaves out a runner. It might be a good idea to leave out a runner in this particular area if we break below this lows. If we
Sam,
actually somehow are able to break these lows, then
Sam,
it might as well be a good idea to leave out a runner, maybe a 0.001, something like that.
Sam, your mic's going a bit funny. It's not anymore. I don't know whether you was touching out on your top, but your mic was going funny. It was like crackling really bad. It stops now, so don't do now.
Yeah, man, I have been facing a few problems now and then. I should get it sorted soon.
It's when you're talking now. Every time you're talking, you're hearing like that.
Is it?
Yeah, every time you're
Oh,
talking now. It's
right,
silent.
right. Give me a moment.
It stops when you stop talking. Is it in the settings? Because it did that to me yesterday. Actually, I don't know what happened in the set. I don't know what happened in the settings, but it just kept flipping. There's no sound yet, Sam. No rush. No rush. Not much is happening in the markets anyway, especially with my trade. I'll just pop mine up while you get your sound sorted. Mine's still in drawdown because I didn't take it precisely off the bounce. I wanted to make sure that it actually was bouncing, so I took it off this candle here. And then as soon as I did that, it went into profit and then straight into drawdown, which is typical. But yeah, that's where we are at the minute. We're just bouncing around a range now, so I don't know what Euro USD is doing for the rest of the day. Hoping that it's going to actually break out to the upside. If it breaks out to the downside, then I take a loss. But other than that, I'm looking forward to seeing what it actually does, because I've started trading indices, as you know, Sam. Not really looking at the forex market as I used to, because I'll go over the point again. When I was creating a bot, I noticed that someone sort of told me about indices and stocks, and I wasn't even a trader of them. I didn't even look. So I decided to put a couple up. So I put a couple up. I put the bot up against, and my strategy overlay up against stocks, what I couldn't necessarily get 100% right on forex. And it's not 100% right on stocks and indices neither. But wow, it is 100% improvement from what I actually built for forex. Actually works better on stocks and indices. So I've kind of moved into indices to where I'm actually gonna, over the long run, earn a little bit more trading that. But I'm still going to revisit forex, because I still like some of the movements that some of the pairs actually produce. I don't have that tab up. I don't know if you've got GDP JPY up. Because I've noticed that that's actually kind of bullish. It's been quite kind of bullish for quite a while at the minute, which would have been a good earning opportunity. I don't actually have it up at the minute on here. At least I don't think so. No, let me add it. See that bullish leg on that? That was a good earning opportunity, that, Sam. So you probably wouldn't have got in there. You'd have probably got in on the break. Anyone trading these probably won't have got in there. But let's go for the best case scenario. To the peak. Almost bang on 500 pips on that range there. So that was hell of a trade. And then we've just developed a double top. This is on the hour time frame. We just developed a double top, so I would expect it either to stick in a range and go further up, or we're actually going to come back and revisit one of these lows. And to be honest with you, who knows which one it's actually going to revisit. But that was a hell of a long. Let me see about putting this up. Would I actually have stayed in for the full range? No. It'd have broke me out once there, Sam. So it actually would have got me in right there, and it would have got me out right there, and I would have got 282 pips from there out of the 500 range that I just marked out. I would have taken a loss. I would have taken a loss on that, but I still would be sat in the second trade, which would have reached 113 pips at its height, and I'd be just looking at 66 pips from this pullback from this double top, which actually is now represented by the resistance zone that you can see is developed here, and the support, which is here, which is actually below the band line. And if it breaks the band line, I would actually be going short, but because there's a resistance zone here, that's not, well, it's not necessarily always going to obey it, but it's 28 pips. So we've got 28 pips drop from there. Depends when the candle stops, breaks, or the size of it by the time it finishes, or 38 to the bottom. But it does look like it's about to break on the hour there, Sam. So we could actually be breaking for another fake out, bit like this one. So which was the actual weekend open. So it actually dropped and then carried on. So yeah, I would have been in profit right up to the weekend. Then I'd have been took out, only just to get back in. On the 16th hour. So 16 hours later, I would have been back in after I'd been taken out first thing Monday morning. And I might just leave this up for now. How long have we got left? Oh, we've got half an hour. That's too long. So we've got half an hour left. There you go. Did you see it just happen there then? The trigger just triggered. Which will untrigger if it actually passes back up. So it won't take that trade. There you go. It's just done it now. It's gone above. So it's very reactive, this this indicator, which is the same style as the bot. So as you see, it turned red because it passed, and it was going to go short again, just like it is now. And then when it passes back above there, which would just leave the wick, it would keep me in the trade because it now knows the trade short is invalid because it's remained above the band level. But this may actually trigger a short. Like I said, it's got 38 minutes left in this. So who knows what it's going to do within 38 minutes. It could come straight back down here. Anything's possible in market trading. Stick a 10 minute dip down 167 pips, and then actually come back come back and then carry on. Who knows? Who knows what it's going to do? But for now, I reckon that is actually going to remain the signal. But we've got 38 minutes left in that candle anyway. But that would have been a good trade, and I missed out on that, not looking at Forex. But my Euro USD, my Euro USD, there you go, it's in profit, and then it's in loss. So I just noticed while I was looking at that my trade had actually gone into profit, and as soon as I bring the screen up, it goes straight back into drawdown. So we need to pass this level because it seems to be acting as a mid-range zone. We need more volume in the market. It's normal volume at the minute, which is the bot's telling us, but it's also telling us that the market regime is just choppy, and you can see for yourself that it's not lying. It really is. It really is choppy. Your mic's not working there, Sam. Sam, your mic's not working.
Can
Yeah,
you hear me now? Yeah. All right.
yeah,
So
still
talking
crackly.
about being choppy. Is it?
It's crackly when you speak. I don't know what you was on when your mic was off, but while he's sorting his mic out,
Is it crackling now?
yeah, that's better. That's better,
Evan?
Sam. Yeah, no, that's better.
Yeah, I think it was the grain control on the settings which did that. Yeah, talking about choppy markets, we would have been taken out if I were to be in this trade, which where I wanted to exploit the range. The max that we ever got was 1 to 1.9. I don't think we'll get to trade anytime soon on the gold, at least in the London session right now, as long as we are live, which is for another 30 odd minutes. Yeah, man. The markets are not being very friendly, especially in the London session. I am not sure why.
No, 1.9. That would have been all right, really, for a gold trade.
Yeah. Yesterday, I was short on GJ, unbiased trader. I was it the pair that we just discussed where it rallied a lot. Evan,
Sorry.
was GJ the pair that we just discussed where it rallied a lot?
Yeah.
Oh, unbiased trader, you got unlucky there. Damn, a shot on GJ on such a rallying market like that. Hopefully, the loss was not too big.
It might have been a scalp and it might have been a win.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been. That is a possibility there.
But yeah, no, man's bouncing in and out of profit. Again, go back to GJ. On the hour, it looking like it's a short. If I drop it any lower, it would have already been in a short. Let's go to the 15. Yeah, if you'd have took it an hour and a half ago, two and a half hours ago, you would have been in.
Right.
So 2.5 hours ago, you'd have been in a short, and at its height, you would have took 37 pips. Price where it is now, 30 pips. So you would still be in. You'd still be in a decent range. Coming back from the support, you would have been in there, and for the resistance area at the top, at least 52 pips, you would have got out of that. So you'd have been over halfway to the bottom. which would have been all right, but you'd have been faked out here and probably faked out here. So you'd have took some. This is why I don't trade. This is the range for the double top, which the double top is here, which I showed you on the hour, which is still marked out going down in time frames. That would have been a winner, but you would have took 1, 2, possibly three losses, but you would have come back from a win. This is why I don't trade the lower time frames with this strategy, because it's always faking out, coming back, giving you some, taking some off, giving you some, taking some off. The better time frame is the 45, but all you have to do is just keep going up time frames and you'll see the diversion in the market. As you progress up the 45, the hour, the diversion gets less and less until it gets to a point where it's just a straight run. So that was the 3 hour. Let's go. I jumped up. There's the 2 hour. You may, because stop loss would have been below the band, I reckon, still on the Monday Open, you'd have still been took out. You'd have been took out still there. And on the 2 hour, it looks like it is going to come down to the band, which is the actual resistance area, the support area, sorry, that it's actually developing on the lower time frames, which is the hour and the 45. So it looks like it may come back to there, or it may just, because it's on the 45 now and the 45 has changed. What was we on there? The hour for that. There you go. It's pulling back now, Sam. So right. It was only a temporary dip. The 5 minutes pulling back could actually still work out on the lower time frame. But for now, with that candle, it just looks like it's pulling back to mid-range, which we've actually got here.
When you were telling that on a lower time frame you get a lot of breakouts.
Yes.
Based on that, I assume that you do not believe that markets are completely fractal, right?
It's kind of a yes and a no. It all depends on price action, to be honest with you. But from what you've seen, you do get a lot of divergence in the market on lower time frames, which actually are just fake outs over the higher time frame bias. So if you trade in the lower time frames, you definitely need to remember to visit the higher time frames first, because it's the higher time frames bias that the overall price eventually is going to stick to. So if the overall price like this is bullish, you're on a lower time frame and you think you're going to take a sell, to be honest with you, my words of advice is don't think you're going to be in that sell for long. Trail your stop loss very tightly and just take what the market's going to give you, unless you actually hit a point of your 2R, your 1-to-1, whatever you're going to take, and stick to that. Don't think that you're going to get 6 and 7 hours on a 5 minute time frame on a pullback where the overall bias on the higher time frames is bullish, because that's not going to happen, and 9 times out of 10 you're just going to keep losing. So that's why I avoid the lower time frames. Some people can make it work, but you'll notice the ones that make it work, the higher risk, which is higher reward, I suppose, they're in and out a lot faster. But the actual pip rate that they're going for may look big, but on a lower time frame it's probably 7 to 10 pips. And that's not much of movement in the market whatsoever. But where I'm on the 45, and I know there's a cut out there, But if we just ignore the cutout for now, my trades would be 485 pips. But realistically on that, even though you can see it at its peak, which I could probably tell you that I wouldn't have holded over the weekend, so I would have been out at this point. And at this point it is 366 pips, so that would have been quite a good week. I'd have been in that for the full week actually, because I can just see weekend open here. A couple of hours later I was in the trade right up to the next week, so Monday to Friday I would have been in that for a full week there, Sam. And on the weekend I would have been out, and that would have been for, I just can't remember how much I actually said that was then. 366 to 367 pips for the full week, because this is a weekend marker. Marker. The actual bot and the overlay would have got me in that trade for a full week, and that would have been hell of a trade. But that's on GGA.
Yeah.
And like I said, for now I haven't been concentrating on Forex.
Forex.
Yep, I've been on indices, which kind of one of them. You look at one and you miss on the other. Then you go back, realise you've missed on one, and then you look on these ones, which ain't no good. Then when you look back at what you previously had, you've missed it again. So it's like, instead of switching and trading and missing out on stuff, I place my bot on all of them, and it's the first one to get in.
Right.
Place my bot on every single one of them, and it's like whichever one takes the trade is the one that we're in. And that stops me from missing some, but it also makes me kind of vulnerable to more.
Yeah, you are exposed to a lot of trades. There might be a possibility where you are exposed to a lot of risk.
Yeah, it starts coming into overexposure. Because on one of my accounts, I have the bot set to 4% instead of 2%, because it's
4%.
It's kind of it's bigger. It's a bigger account than this one.
Right.
I've got it set to 4%, but that's 4% per trade, and the bot is set to 4 or 5 pairs. So if it opens a trade, which I have actually had it do, on 4 pairs at the same time, that's 4% per trade times 4.
Yeah.
So exposure
16%.
becomes quite deep. But the way that the bot's set up and the trailing stop and everything like that, and the partials, it generally does work out all right.
You're right.
But when I do lose, I don't lose much, because the trailing stop cuts down on my loss as price is moving towards TP1. So as price is moving towards TP1, it's reducing risk all the time. And then from TP1, it will jump to break even or just over break even. So if it does pull back, it's a free trade. Or if it does come back and hit a stop loss at any particular point, it's a stop loss at a reduced rate, not a full TP. So my risk is mitigated throughout the trade. So yeah, no, if I lose, I don't lose much, but if I win, I kind of win big. So
But there is a possibility of a black swan event where you lose them all. You have to,
absolutely. Just like crossing the road and getting hit by a bus. You could do it for 20 years and never get hit, and then you do it on the 21st year and you're wiped out. Absolutely. The market is a risk, and that is an actual risk in the market if the bot does over trade. But like I said, the way that it's trading, if one of those 4 that it would have got in was a bigger bull candle or bear candle than what is preset, it's a no trade. The bot won't trade it because of the limit. It just won't enter the trade because it's got a signal. There's other factors behind the bot. How big's the signal? How big's the stop loss? Do you know what I mean? And they're all preset anyway. And if it breaches that limit, then there's no trade. So out of all them 4 trades that it did open, they all met certain criteria. So that was a good thing about it. But if only 2 opened out of that trade, it just meant that only 2 met that criteria. That was all. But the criteria is set there to protect the account. It's not there just to get into trades.
Right.
But the trades that it does get in, it's past all confluences. And to be honest with you, Sam, if it goes straight to stop loss, it's a good loss because it's past every single confluence that I needed to enter the trade anyway. If it goes straight to stop loss, it's just one of those things. But as it goes straight to stop loss, I've got it set to actually take that trade as well as if it's still within the certain criteria. So once the bot is set up and it's either at a few fake outs or it's at a fake out and then a win, the bot left alone, once trading, will never be out of a trade. It'll either be long or it'll be in a short. The bot will never actually be out of a trade once it's actually just set up and left to do what it needs to do. But other than that, you could be sat waiting for, again, if I'd have been in that time frame from Monday to Friday and I didn't get in that trade because I joined that trade midweek, so I wouldn't have actually got in that trade. I'd have actually waited until the next signal before it would actually take a trade on that pair, which more than likely would have been a fake out. So I would have took an instant loss to get in on the actual market direction, which I'm prepared to do anyway, because if you're getting in late in stuff, you've just got to, like I said, in this market, you've just got to take the rough with the smooth. I've tried making it as easy as possible to get in and out, and I seem to have had it almost down to a T. But like you still get caught out on some fake outs. You can't avoid them really. So you just take the rough with the smooth. And once I've actually sorted and ironed out everything within these bots, I will actually start trading them consistently instead of jumping back and forth on different accounts, so we can see how they perform individually on a longer time frame as in a higher time frame, but a time frame as in running it for a month constantly, so we can judge to see how good the bots are and pick the best one to trade full time, possibly on a bigger account. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've got about 4 or 5 of them. They're all different techniques. So we'll see which, like, the competition of the techniques, shall we say, between the bots. We could have a bot war on different accounts to see which bot actually takes the most profit over the same time. We can set it all off at the beginning of a month, close it all down at the end of the month, and see which bot won. So basically that's what I'm sort of intending to do, and over that month it'll tell me which strategy, shall we say, performed the best within that month. Can you hear me, Sam? Has your sound gone off? Your mic's gone off again. Is it doing that to you in these settings?
Not sure, not sure. There's some issue. I think I got connected with two or more devices, like two or more audio devices. I think that is the reason I'm facing this issue today. It should not happen tomorrow. I think I have disconnected. Like previously, I was wearing these headphones, so I forgot to disconnect them. I think that was the issue. Yeah, yeah. I think you are right. You are right in talking about that. But I personally believe that the markets are fractal. I believe that they are 100% fractal. So it does not matter which time frame you are on. They all behave the same. That is what I believe. Uh, the reason why people believe that what wait a minute, let me frame the sentence. The reason why I believe that a lot of people think that the markets have a lot more fake outs on the lower time frames is because higher time frames allow you to have a luxury to make a decision with proper thinking. On the lower time frames, you do not have the luxury to think for as long as you can on a higher time frame. On a higher time frame, you can wait for a 15-minute candle to close and then make a decision for another minute or two. But on a lower time frame, as soon as the 1 minute candle closes, you have to make the decision whether you want to go long or down or short. It depends. So the element of time where you have enough time to make a decision on higher time frame can help a lot of people because they are able to analyze everything. They are able to make sure that everything is checked. Every ticker that they're looking for their strategy is checked. So that might be a reason why a lot of people find it easier to trade higher time frames. On the lower time frames, you have to be on top of your game. You have to make sure that your execution is at its best. That is reason there is a preference for higher time frame and lower time frame. Because say for suppose I was on a chart and you had no indication of the time frame. Then there is no way that you can say that if it is a daily chart or a 5 minute chart because this exact chart pattern is possible on any time frame. Even on the 1 minute time frame, this is possible. So without an indication from TradingView or any charting software that you use, it becomes really difficult to estimate whether it's a 15-minute time frame or a 5 minute time frame or a 1 minute time frame. So I really believe that every single uh, time frame is fractal. The markets are completely fractal. That's what I believe. But just because you cannot make the best decisions on a lower time frame, higher time frames are better in
Yeah,
that aspect.
unbiased traders said it was a losing trade, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
So the pullback that he was looking at wasn't deep enough for whatever he was noticing in the market. And he was saying his idea on BTC, DAX, and GJ was the Asia trend continuation.
Right. Yeah. But
And
I
he hadn't
yeah,
finished
Asia
yet, Sam.
continuation is a good idea.
He hadn't finished yet. He was saying if you guys have different RR for trades, do you set your risk based on stop loss or TP? Now my TPs are set by R, so it depends on what account I'm actually trading. So I can have TP1, TP2, all the way to TP6, and then leave a runner. Depends how big the trade I'm opening is. But mine's based on R, and then I've got a trailing stop loss. It doesn't matter sort of what account I'm actually trading. The system is still the same. It just dictates on how many partials I can actually take. But I will actually always leave a runner, and the trailing stop loss will just deal with that runner. So yeah, my TPs are based on ours, which is actually put here. What I mean is, if you had a 1R, 2R, then would you take risk based on R or a target? No, I take the risk on the stop loss. So what I'm willing to lose. I've got no cap on. I've definitely got no cap on what I'm willing to win. But I cap it via what I'm willing to lose, and then the RTPs are actually based on that. So TP1 would probably be a 1-to-1. TP2 would probably obviously be a 2R. TP3 would be a 3R, and then if I couldn't get a TP4 out of it, but I'd have a runner left, the bot is still pre-programmed to ignore every TP after that and let that last remaining percentage of account or percentage of that open trade at that time just run, and then it's actually taken care of by the actual stop loss. So that's basically my strategy for my TPs. I don't know about you, Sam. I think you've kind of looking
Yeah,
at taking a TP now and again, but how do you do yours?
How I trade is I put the stop loss wherever I think is when I think there's enough room for the trade to play out, and where I think after this point there's my idea of the trade has been invalidated. So it is usually below the demand and supply zones, or it might be just above the EMA levels. But my TP will be based up on the RR will be based upon the asset. So I do not mind having a wide stop or a short or a small stop up, and my TP is usually a 1 to 2. Does not matter the stop loss or the take profit is. Usually I trade like that. I believe that your SL needs to be where it has to be. Shortening it by a bit, lengthening it by a bit does not really matter. You have to put your stop loss where you think it is no longer your idea that you have taken for this trade is no longer valid. That is where I put my stop losses, and the TP is based upon a 1 to 2 on the stop loss.
No, for sure. Yeah. So your TP, was you on about man or yours there? Your TP's actually based on the stop loss the same as mine. So if you're actually going
Yeah, my TP is based upon the stop loss, same as yours.
Yeah. But are you actually taking? Are you actually closing the trade in full?
Yeah, I do trade. I close the trade in full. I am not a fan of partials until and unless I think there is a small possibility that there might be a shift on the higher time frame. On the higher time frame, if I leave a run, then there's a possibility that it can fetch me a lot, a greater multiple. That is when I am open to the idea of leaving a runner, maybe a 0.01 or a 0.1 or a 0.23.
Yeah, so you're going for a 1-to-1 and a 1-to-2, but you're going for the full trade. You're not happy in taking partials. You want the full bank.
Yeah, like I told earlier also, you are not closing. I personally do not take a partial loss, right? I will not take a partial loss. Therefore, there is no point in taking a partial win. If I take a partial loss, if I think that okay, after this point I see that there is a possibility of it getting stopped out more than it going to the TP, and I am taking partial losses. I am taking partial losses. Then it makes sense that I am open to the idea of taking partials when I'm winning, because I want to win more than I want to lose. I want to win a lot more than I want to lose. That is the reason I'm not a fan of taking partials. But I am open to the idea of adding to my trades. I'm open to the idea of adding to my trades when they're winning.
But obviously it all depends on what point you're taking partials, obviously. But wouldn't that
Yes.
even that score out anyway by itself? taking partial wins to partial losses. It would be the same as taking full wins and full losses.
Yeah, like that's what I told. If you are taking partial wins and partial losses, if you are doing for both your wins and losses, then it checks out. Then it is there's a balance there. But if you are only taking partial wins and you are not taking partial losses, then what I believe is that you're eating up your profits, and that is not a great idea in my opinion.
Yeah, no, obviously, yeah, you're taking partial wins and full losses. The slope that you're on is just straight down.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. There's got to be some sort of balance. You got
balance.
to hit some sort of equilibrium within that. Yeah, no, that's fine. But at the minute, my trade is still in drawdown after going into profit. So it's going to be one of those trades, Sam, that you just you're bobbing it up and down in profit, in drawdown, in profit, in drawdown.
Right.
Until the market decides what it wants to do.
Yes.
And it's those trades that are quite frustrating. They are for me anyway.
Yeah.
Especially when it's
Yes,
bobbing
they
around
are.
the area.
But I am not a fan of today's price action, especially in the London session. It has been very choppy.
Yep. No, I've talked to a few people this morning, and they're exactly looking the market exactly the same way. It's just like, are you looking at trading? And it's like, I haven't took one yet. And I'm like, well, yeah, we're on Wednesday. You haven't took a trade yet. And it's like, nah. It's just the price action and everything. It's just not there.
Yes.
And then when it is, you actually miss it. Just like yesterday's. So if you want in yesterday here to let's say London Open today, which is flat, you've missed out. I'm only taking rough guidance here. 83 pips. I mean that's for like since Monday, innit? Yeah.
Yes.
So that's Monday. So 83 pips in 3 days. There's probably someone scalping like you on the minute that's actually blitzing it.
Yeah. Possibly.
Yeah. There's someone like you and they're actually trading the 1 minute and they're actually
Give
running
me a
away
minute.
with it. There's conditions in different markets for different people, for different techniques. You've just got to find out what yours is. Mine's not necessarily scalping. I have done scalping and I've kind of made it work, but then I lost the edge to that. And then I tried higher time frames, or at least going back to the higher time frames. And pretty much that's where I'm home at. So I don't know what happened to you, Sam. Have you dropped off? Is your mic working, or is it just your cam that's gone off? Are you turning your cam on and off? Are your wires loose? You've got no sound.
Sorry. I got a call. Sorry.
Ah. So yeah, no, that's it. And we've got 5 minutes left. You can either do the 5 minutes, Sam, or you can call it for today because the price.
There's nothing happening.
No,
Right.
nothing is happening in the markets. Not that's
Alright then.
anywhere.
Yeah. Nothing interesting. So we are gonna call it now. We will be on again tomorrow. Please make sure that you join, and we might as well catch some good trades alongside you. We are looking forward to you. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you're interested in joining in our Discord, the links in the chat and the links in the description. All right, peace out.
Cheers, Sam.